Hello, friends, and welcome into another weekly update from our team here at North Carolina Family. I'm joined by Jerry. This is the week ending August the 1st. Jerry, it's hard to believe that we're already upon August. It's beautiful outside. It's kind of cool out there, kind of surprising. Things have definitely been hot in Raleigh at the General Assembly. The Senate was there this past week. Before we get to the Senate, as you've heard us talk about on multiple of our videos in the past few weeks, we've talked about House Bill 328, a conference report that both the House and the Senate have worked on. The Senate has passed 328. House Bill 328, in its essence, restricts hemp-derived consumable products along with xylazine and kratom products from those under the age of 21. It also gets rid of synthetic kratom completely, and the Senate has passed this bill. They did it a couple weeks ago, and now the House is going to hear that, or we hope the House will hear that in the coming week. So we're encouraging House members to listen to this bill, hear this bill, and vote in favor of this bill because it will protect the most vulnerable in the state of North Carolina, our children, those under the age of 21. Of course, our position all along has been if it's bad for those under 21, it's bad for those over 21. But Jerry, more people have weighed in the last few weeks. Tell us what we need to know about those people that have weighed in.
Well, it's always encouraging when you see more and more people come into, and this is the beauty of the decision-making that can happen and should happen at the legislature, and it's why the House and the Senate both take up bills. In this case, with the extra time, more and more people have said, yes, this is very good. This is important legislation that needs to pass. I know we've been over it before with y'all, but I know the highlights are what this bill would accomplish was intoxicating hemp products would be removed from the legal market. And all that would be left are the non-intoxicating. And even those products, you would have to be 21 or over to access those. The third point that is apparently the main source of confusion about this is people have been concerned, is this going to somehow indirectly or directly allow marijuana to be legalized, whether it's medicine, recreational, or any way or form? What happened, as you say, this week, 7 groups, and you know, it's not often, these are all law enforcement related groups.
Yes.
A lot of them do work together, but this isn't the first time in my memory that 7 have come out together and made a strong statement saying, yes, this is important legislation. And it's interesting, they start their statement, say, this bill does not in any way legalize marijuana or medical marijuana in North Carolina. They're acknowledging, you know, the good that would happen, and they're also saying there's not something bad that's kind of hidden in this. And it's the sheriffs, police chiefs, SBI, highway patrol, alcohol law enforcement. I mean, district attorneys. It is everybody who has interest in law enforcement is on board with, not just on board, but they have come together and said, this is important legislation that needs to move on.
It's certainly a significant list, and to be honest with you, for those who are concerned about this, we didn't come by our decision to support this bill lightly. In fact, we ran it by national experts. Those national experts came back to us and said, this is a good bill. Again, we wish that this bill would ban these substances for all North Carolinians, but right now, we're not there. Right now, we're at making sure that it stays out of the hands of those under the age of 21 and even those non-intoxicating, those are hemp products, those are the only ones that will be able to be sold to those over the age of 21. These products are all across the state, and right now, as to quote the governor, it is the Wild West of a market. And for those that are concerned about whether this will hurt that market or not, to be honest with you, if they're selling to those under the age of 21, this is Mitch speaking, shame on them, and they need to stop that immediately, whether this law passes or not. We're encouraging this law to pass. Our friends at Faith and Freedom have also joined in and said, hey, we want this bill to pass. So, Jerry, yes, sir.
One extra note on this, and something I read, and you have to be careful. Just because we read it doesn't mean it's factual or accurate, but this does fit into the overall picture you have. One article I was reading about this picture in the United States is because of North Carolina being the Wild Wild West, their perception, and they said it's not just theirs, others are saying we're more wide open than recreational marijuana states because there's so many products
Wow.
out there that are unmarked.
Sure.
Well, and they found the ones that have, some of them that have been tested are in fact marijuana that are on the shelves now, some of them with high THC levels. Again, everything we continue to see and hear as time goes on is this is important, and we all need to be praying that this will happen this next week when the House comes back,
Yes.
that they will pass this
Yes.
conference report.
Well, the Senate was in this week, this past week. We're recording this on Thursday. They were in on Tuesday and Wednesday of this past week. A few things they did. They looked at a couple of technical correction bills in regard to the state budget that just passed a couple of weeks ago, moving some dollars around that they had in the state budget. They also heard a bill that would modify and ultimately tighten up some election law and made some changes there. We won't dive too deeply into that. Hotly debated topic there. Very, very fascinating debate. And then they passed an adjournment resolution, which all of you in the state should be saying amen to that. So it may be the last time for a long time that the Senate is in. They allowed some time in November and December, but a sine die on December the 18th. So a lot that the Senate did this week. Jerry, anything else we need to know about what the Senate did?
No, and like you say, they set the same kind of calendar they did before, allowing time each month where they could come back if things arise that need attention. And I think one of the things they've already done, like say the technical corrections bill, this, as we said before, 600 plus pages. You go back and you find, wait a minute, this wasn't worded just right or punctuation. That's primarily what happens in those. Sometimes there are more substantive things. We have heard that maybe into November when they come back after the election, that may be one final legislative action that might be taken, well, something like that.
Yes, sir. Well, the House will be in this coming week, the week of August the 4th. There's still a few veto overrides they have listed on their calendar. We'll keep you up to date on those. And then they'll hear basically the same bills that the Senate processed through this week, those technical corrections bills. Of course, as we started this update video, House Bill 328, again, we encourage those House members to move on that, to pass this, to protect children in the state of North Carolina. Let me say it this way, those under the age of 21 from these harmful materials, these harmful chemicals, these toxic chemicals that can be found in places across the state, including right across the street from elementary schools. It's just remarkable to me. And then they'll also move on the adjournment resolution as well, hopefully to sine die on December the 18th, ahead of the next biennium, which will be 27-28, when we get to do it all over again. So, Jerry, as the House comes back in next week, anything that we need to be paying attention to as they come back in?
No, I think that is the primary focus. With us and others helping, and this is the role that we have as an organization that you can have with us, as the citizens they represent, to help encourage them, because quite honestly, we're hearing, and I know we're saying a lot about it, but 328, they're getting a lot of mixed messages. Obviously, a different message is coming from certain people who represent the hemp industry, especially these multiple intoxicating products that are out there. People are saying, well, wait a minute. Initially, they thought it was only going to be, you got to be 21 and over. Now, thankfully, it's going, no. Intoxicating products, nobody should be accessing these.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
if you see or hear or want to call your member of the House, please join us in encouraging them to move ahead with this.
Good word, Jerry. We were, John and I had the opportunity last week to be in D.C. for a few days. We were part of the FPC, Family Policy Council National yearly annual meeting. We were there for that. And then for SoCon, the Social Conservative Conference. And we had a great time and meeting with these national organizations as well as our statewide organization from across the country. There's about 40 of us. It was just a wonderful time to spend with them, hear what's going on in their states, hearing a lot of different topics that are going on across the country in regard to artificial intelligence technology, keeping harmful material out of the hands of children through the App Store Accountability Act, a myriad of other issues on the pro-life front, and mifepristone, misoprostol. We also had the opportunity to go to Capitol Hill. We met with Senator Budd, a wonderful meeting with him and his team there. We're so grateful for our representation here in the state of North Carolina. It was just a wonderful meeting there. But one last thing before we wrap up our video today, Jerry, we're working on our voter guide for the 2026 general election. It's the midterms, and so we'll have one U.S. Senate seat up for election. We'll also have some judicial races. All 14 of our congressional seats are up for re-election, as they are every 2 years, and then every state Senate and state House seat will also be up. So we're working on that voter guide. We're making a lot of phone calls, making sure that their voices are heard by you, and you know where the candidates stand on these issues. Jerry, what do we need to know about the voter guide as we move forward?
Well, again, be praying that people will respond, and that's what we send it by mail, email, phone calls, because we want you and all citizens across North Carolina to know where candidates stand on a lot of important issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to see more of our trip from D.C. last week, and go to all of our social media. If you're not following us on social media, I'd encourage you to go do so, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, across all of our social media platforms. And if you aren't on social media, then you can go to our website, ncfamily.org. That's ncfamily.org, where you can find out all of the amazing things that our organization and our team is doing here in the state of North Carolina and across the country to ensure that your values are well represented and that families thrive, not just here but across the country. Jerry, we're here in our office camouflage today. It's been a great video. Thank you for your time and attention to all of these things. It's just a pleasure to sit alongside of you and your brilliant mind to hear these issues and your perspective as our counsel here at NC Family.
Well, it's mutual, but any brilliance is God hopefully working through us.
That's
and,
right.
He's gifted all of us, and I know he always references Anna Scott, who with her humility maybe doesn't want to be acknowledged, but all the team here working together.
Absolutely.
We're very thankful that God has brought us together.
God has brought a wonderful team together, and we are so grateful for you being a part of the team and your support and partnership with what we do. So please continue to make sure that we have a great team here so that your voice and values are heard, not just here, but across the country. And we are so grateful for you. So for this weekly update video, I'm Mitch. He's Jerry. That's Anna Scott right behind the camera. God bless y'all. We hope you have a wonderful weekend at the beginning of August.